microphones. We will just be yelling into the phone today. I would like one person to let me know you guys can hear me. At least today, YouTube is letting me go live. I tried 4 times yesterday. They would not allow it. Tried the day before. They would not allow it. So at least it is allowed today. I feel like the visual should be fine. It shouldn't be crackly or anything like that, like connection wise. But just let me know you guys can hear me so we can jump into everything. Because if you saw my video from yesterday, you already know how I feel about this information that was dropped by Axios when it comes to the closing of the Epstein files, basically. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and some other things. Christina 5x5, I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. So let's just jump into this. So yesterday's video, I don't know how many of you saw it. It didn't get very many views. I did title and thumbnail it differently, so it was more like political looking, kind of like this one, which doesn't normally work for me, but I tried it anyway, so whatever. But the video yesterday, I went over the FBI and DOJ memo that was leaked to Axios, which is the left-leaning publication company, whatever, that for some reason our DOJ, Department of Justice, and FBI would leak to a left-leaning corporation. Makes very much sense to me. We talked about it yesterday, and I told you how I don't think it's real. Then we had Caroline Leavitt. Okay, let me try to go in some sort of order here. You guys know how this squirrel brain thing works. So when I put the video out yesterday, when I recorded it yesterday, nobody had spoken from the Trump administration or anywhere else about this article or this memo that had been posted by Axios. It was going crazy on social media. Everybody's reposting it and talking about it, saying, you know, they can't believe that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino would just swipe everything under the rug and pretend like nothing happened, especially after they've all said all this information was out there and blah, blah, blah. And so I said yesterday, and I 100% still believe it is not a real memo from the FBI and the DOJ. And let me explain why. So Caroline Leavitt, she did go out and have whatever the press briefing is that they do. And during this press briefing where she was talking about the Texas floods, she was talking about Iran, she was talking about numerous other things, Peter Doocy jumped in the middle and asked her about this memo or this whatever from Axios and the Epstein files. And you could tell that Caroline Leavitt was immediately uncomfortable. For those of you who haven't seen it, I do have a video. I'll try to play it. I got to find it in all these notes. But I did take a screenshot from the transcript of what was said because I wanted the legitimate words that came out of her mouth when it came to the memo and everything else. And again, watching her, she got very uncomfortable during this, but these are her words, okay? So Peter Doocy asked about it, and she said, the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the president's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. All right, that's what she said. Now, let me just explain to you. I think she read the memo. I do not think the memo is real because she quoted the words exhaustive review twice, which is what the memo said a couple times. As of today, as of this morning, it is 9:28 a.m. Central Standard Time, Tuesday, July 8, 2025. The DOJ has yet to confirm that they wrote this. The FBI has yet to confirm that they wrote this. Pam Bondi has been talking and she has not said a word about it. President Trump has not said a word about it. Dan Bongino has not said a word about it. Kash Patel has not said a word about it. And you still want me to believe it's real? I think the only reason Caroline Leavitt made a comment about it was because Peter Doocy asked about it, because it was going like wildfire through social media. I do not think it's real. Yes, she said, and they put out a memo in conclusion. Maybe because she's blindsided by said memo that she never got any information on that wasn't given to her by President Trump or by Pam Bondi or whatever, because she doesn't even mention their name. She says Attorney General and FBI Director, but she doesn't mention any names. There is still no signature on that memo. There is still no date on that memo. There is still no proof of that memo existing anywhere else. It's not on the FBI page. It's not on the DOJ page. It is not, or justice.gov. It's not in the White House anywhere on their website. I personally, my thought process is it is not real. All right. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. Everybody's talking about it like it's real. I don't believe it. I do not believe it is a real memo. Again, it does not make any sense why our FBI and our Department of Justice would give a memo to Axios. Out of every single publication or person they could ever just leak this to, why would it go to a left-leaning news source that has been proven to have lied previously and to have altered their content? It doesn't make sense to me at all, which is why I think Caroline Leavitt looked so uncomfortable when Peter Doocy brought it up, because I don't think she thinks it's real either. That's my thought on that, and that's where I'm going with it. Now, what is crazy to me is, because of all of the talk of Epstein yesterday, a lot of people probably were not paying attention to all of the different things that were going on. One, the Texas floods, which everybody has been talking about those on social media, but not getting a ton of traction anywhere else. But they also weren't talking about another fire in Hawaii. They weren't talking about the ICE agents that are at the border, the Homeland Security that got ambushed and they tried to kill them. They aren't talking about the fact that, you know, President Trump is sending more weapons to Ukraine. But when they do talk about the fact that President Trump is sending more weapons to Ukraine, a lot of people are up in arms and like, this is not what we voted for. But they forget that we signed a mineral deal with Ukraine. In order to have that mineral deal, we signed that we would give them more weapons. So it's not like the president's just flipping on us, right? But either way, while this is all going on, everybody's talking about the Epstein files, because that was released weirdly on the 4th of July weekend on a Sunday night at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. The same scenario as when Joe Biden just happened to drop out of the presidential race on a Sunday at whatever time in the evening with a document that was posted weirdly to different news sources that was signed and underlined, which he does not do. So again, there's previous things that have transpired in our releasing of documents that makes me once again believe that this Jeffrey Epstein memo release is not real, that it is all a mindfuck, and that too many people are losing their ever-loving minds over it. Because here's the thing, right now, my channel, I would guarantee any channel that is pro-Trump on whatever platform it has to be, whether it's YouTube or whatever else, I will guarantee you, if it's a subscriber-based thing or a follower-based thing, you are losing people like you would not believe overnight, right? And the reason my husband and I were talking about this, I fully believe that with this Epstein memo release, I'm going to do this every time because I don't believe it's real, that a lot of people are jumping ship, that they are moving away from President Trump because there's so many I guess the words are right-wing activists. That's what I think his name on X is, I find retards. I don't remember. I think that's his name on X. And he was posting about how many right-wing influencers are jumping ship and turning their back on Trump. And this seems to be the new thing. So my husband and I were talking about this morning, and I was saying that for those of us who are still believing that President Trump is going to do the right thing, we will now be suffocated. I don't know if that's the right word. Suffocated more when it comes to our content being out, right? And you will have more people in the Trump bashing mind frame jumping into your comment section, because with the release of the Epstein memo, I think it has done its job, which was to undermine President Trump and to undermine the faith, belief, trust that a lot of Republicans and conservatives and other people have in President Trump. Because when you have the memo come out saying that President Trump made them, look into it this way, and now they're closing it, it puts a bad taste in your mouth on President Trump, that he fast-tracked the Epstein case, right? A lot of people are saying that the timing of this Epstein stuff coming out right after the One Big Beautiful Bill gets passed, does that have any correlation? Is there a correlation between Democrats allowing One Big Beautiful Bill to pass and now Epstein being basically stopped because there's so many Democrats on the Epstein files? Because guess who did not post anything about this whole Epstein memo? There was nothing from Chuck Schumer. There was nothing from Elizabeth Warren. There's nothing from Nancy Pelosi. Nothing from Kamala Harris. Nothing from Joe Biden. Nothing from the Democrats about this leaked memo from Axios that would have come from the DOJ and FBI basically saying that they found nothing and so it's all done and Epstein's fine and there's no reason this Maxwell chick is sitting in jail, but you know, whatever. If this was real, the left would be gloating or at least talking about it, and they're not. And so now everything you see, which is very funny to me, now everything you see is just like that comment that just came up. Epstein doesn't matter anymore. Oh, let's just forget about it. Quit talking about Epstein. Just move on from it. Do you guys understand what is happening? We are being conditioned to stop talking about the child trafficking pedophile ring and the people who are part of it, because now we're being overrun with all this information or lack of information, and it's supposed to give you, I guess, Epstein fatigue. Fatigue is the new word we're using here for everything. And so you're supposed to not want to hear about it, not talk about it, just forget about it and move on from it. Do you understand what that means? Like, it's the most psychological mind F, like, to literally sit here and go, you know what, I'm tired of talking about and trying to figure out who the clients were that were raping children. We should just quit talking about this because, you know, we're not doing this anymore. It's sketchy as hell is what it is, Jen. It is very sketchy. So that's my thought there. But I have more. Please hold. I know this is like crazy and off the rails. It normally is. So yesterday, this is President Trump's post on Truth Social. He says, the FBI, under the direction of Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, is back to the basics, locking up criminals and cleaning up America's streets. We have the greatest law enforcement professionals in the world, but politics and corrupt leadership often prevented them from doing their job. That is no longer the case, and now they have been unleashed to do their jobs, and they are doing just that. Keep it up, make America safe again. To which Dan Bongino reposted it and said, we are doubling down, no letting up. And again, not a single effing mention of the Epstein files. President Trump, who likes to tweet about every single thing under the sun, who likes to drive his points home, who likes to point out the stupidity of people, who likes to do all these things. Not one single word or mention, of this memo leak of the Epstein files just being completely closed and everything done and there was no client list. Bullshit. Straight bullshit. It's not real. And I don't care what anybody says to me. That is not a real memo. That is not what's going on. Maybe the whole point behind the memo is to draw out people. I don't know. Either way, it stinks and something is very wrong with it, in my opinion. And I will not change how I feel about that because the gut feeling is legit. I had a gut feeling about East Palestine. Same thing about Lahaina. And this right here, I'm like, nope. It stinks. There's something wrong with it because please hold. We're gonna find this. Please hold this. Look, please hold. We'll get to that. Here's Pam Bondi this morning talking. There's Pam Bondi this morning talking about China and American land and whatever else. Did she mention an Epstein file? She sure did not. But where's the thing? This is what I was talking about. These people are posting. Honestly, I'm just sick of talking about the Epstein list. Obsessing over it for almost a decade now hasn't done a single thing to advance our agenda or help our country. Another one. I'm so sick of hearing about effing Epstein. I'm only going to say this about it and I'm done. I'm literally going to mute the word Epstein so I don't see any more about it. That is the whole point behind everything. It is designed to make you not want to hear about it, not want to talk about it. So then you don't look deeper into who's actually on the client list, right? And then people are like, why did Epstein kill himself if he was an innocent man with $1 billion, 0 clients, and no evidence against him? That wouldn't make sense either. But wait, there's more, because now they're saying, this came out on February 2nd last year, for those of you who didn't see it. Jeffrey Epstein's secret bank account is still moving millions and no one knows why. So a judge in the Virgin Islands has declared there is no explanation for why millions of dollars have been moving between one of Jeffrey Epstein's secret bank accounts and other bank accounts. This was an article that came out, fact-checked, everything else. I remember that being talked about. Why is his money moving if he's whatever? And the Maxwell chick, Jillian or however we're supposed to call her, it's not Ghislaine, even though that's how it's spelled. If she's in jail and can't touch his money, who's moving his money around? Who? So anyway, another one here. This is why Matt Gaetz wasn't allowed to be Attorney General, in case anybody wants to know. This is Matt Gaetz on the Benny Johnson show last year. And Matt Gaetz said everyone was lying about Jeffrey Epstein's death. This is his quote. There's just no way that the story you're getting is the real story. I actually think that on Epstein, it was a foreign government that took him out. Okay, so now we know why he is not the Attorney General, because he probably would not have been as willing as Pam Bondi to not do a damn thing about anything. Then you have this one here. The FBI field office in New York was cheering for James Dennehy or whatever, who was forced to resign after getting caught hiding the Epstein files. That did not exist. So this was when he was forced to resign. People are cheering him on, whatever. And again, they're saying these Epstein files, these client lists don't exist. Why are we cheering? Why is somebody else sitting in jail? Why all these different things? But the craziest part, I would like to just show you. This here is the image of Jeffrey Epstein's prison door, his cell door. Images of the outside of his cell are also included in the piece. One photo shows the door of his cell marked off with police tape. This was on CBS. This is from the information. This was right after August 10th, 2000. I don't remember the year that he killed himself, right? This was part of the physical evidence that went into all the pictures and the videos and everything else. This is his cell door where they said they found him after he hung himself inside. This is the cell door that came out in the video that was released supposedly yesterday or the day before, saying that this is where he was being kept when he killed himself. So wait, hold on. Is it that one or is it that one? Because in case you haven't noticed, those are two completely fucking different doors, two completely different areas. Everything about this is nope. So we're still being lied to, no matter how you look at it, whether we're being lied to in the sense of this is what happened, or whether being lied to in the sense of this is not what happened. It's still a lie. It is still a lie. So the other thing, where is it here? Charlie Kirk, no. President Trump, no. Amnesty deal, no, not that. Please hold. I'm gonna get there. There's a lot going on here. Okay, here it is. So during an appearance on Fox News, a former CIA officer alleged that the deep state likely destroyed the Epstein files. Well, that doesn't really matter, but that's John Kiriakou, former CIA. He was on Fox News talking about how the deep state likely destroyed the Epstein files. So they're saying that before Joe Biden left office, that they went through and destroyed everything, so that then when Pam Bondi and Bongino and Patel are trying to find all this stuff, they don't have it. Although in the very beginning, Pam Bondi let us know how much she had sitting on her desk that was incriminating, all these different things from people talking about how incriminating it is. So then you have to take into consideration the fact that the video that they released, that they show, there is 58 seconds missing in the video. It stops at just before 11:59 and picks back up at 12 o'clock. And according to this, a CNN guest accidentally said the quiet part about Epstein out loud. He said there's about a minute missing from the Epstein cell footage between 11:58 p.m. and 58 seconds and 12 a.m., the night that Epstein was apparently killed or died. This comment came from Alex Eisenstadt. I'm horrible with names. He's the Axios reporter who broke the story about the internal memo in which the DOJ and FBI concluded that Epstein died by suicide and had no client blackmail list. Even he seems unconvinced by the narrative. This is him here. But again, this is the guy they're saying was given the memo. Why an Axios person would be given a memo, I still don't understand. Nothing adds up. Nothing makes sense. This is, here is the video. Okay, I'm going to make sure this place. Okay, here's the video. You guys can see. Maybe, can you see the time there? Y'all saw that, right? Y'all saw the time. Does it restart again? Yeah. And there's 11:58 and then it's 12 o'clock. And this is the video that they are saying the DOJ released, showing that there could not have possibly been anybody that had gone into Epstein's cell. But once again, that is also not where they said his cell was after he killed himself. It's a completely different area. First, the cameras were down and they didn't get anything. But then, no, the cameras are up, but that's not even the same floor. I'm just saying, none of it tracks. None of it adds up. The math is not mathing when it comes to this whole entire situation. And I know I'm not the only one who is pissy about it. I guess that's right. That feels like the right word, because it does not make sense at all on what is going on. So then you have Benny Johnson posted this yesterday, which is a very good question. So these are the things that they pulled out of Jeffrey Epstein's safe in his apartment when they took him, or whatever word you want to use. And Benny said, the major problem the DOJ and FBI is facing right now is Americans' trust in these institutions is around 0%. Americans have been lied to systematically on a daily basis by the DOJ and FBI leadership for decades. We have hit rock bottom, absolute crisis of confidence. I agree. Although when Donald Trump got into office and said, these are my cabinet members, I'm putting Pam Bondi in here, some people were like, I don't know about this. They said Dan Bongino, and some people were like, I don't know about this. Y'all have Obama ties. Then he says Kash Patel. A lot of people were very, very pushing for Kash Patel. And we were like, okay, well, maybe with these three in there, we can start to have a little bit of, just a little bit of faith or trust or belief in our justice system. And then this whole debacle. But Benny says, Team Trump did not break these institutions, but they own them now, so they inherit the nightmare. This is why the old just trust us, bro, we looked into it, is not going to work anymore, especially with Epstein. It will only make Americans more furious and erode further faith. Here is the only way to solve the Epstein crisis blowing up DC right now. And this makes sense. He says, release everything. Texts, emails, passports, art, furniture, tours of his properties, cars, bank accounts, all communications, and cookbooks. Show the American people all the evidence that makes you confident in your Epstein assessment. He goes, I'll show you where to start. Here's a FBI photo of Epstein's personal safe. According to public documents, this envelope had multiple passports in it where Epstein used different names. That's odd. What countries? What names? The box next to it was filled with diamonds. Where were they from? What do they look like? Where are they now? None of this evidence contains abuse material and would prove to the public you trust them and are being honest. We know the feds confiscated a treasure trove of other info from Epstein. Put it out there. Trust the American people first. This is how you regain trust. And that makes sense to me. Put out information that does not have to do with the victims themselves. No age, no names, none of that stuff. And if you don't want the clients out there, don't put the names out there, but give people something so that they will have a little bit of faith that maybe you're doing something in the background or behind the scenes that we don't know about, and we are going to be able to, what's happening here with the lighting, that we're going to be able to get some sort of legit info from the people that we voted into place. You know what I mean? Like, technically we didn't vote Pam Bondi and them, but we voted for Trump knowing he wanted Bondi and Patel and Dan Bongino. So it makes sense that breathe, that they would do something to give us a little bit of help. Now, this is what I do want to show you, because I talked about this numerous times, how Dan Bongino now is not Dan Bongino from his podcast. The man now is a shell of what he was. He is no longer the man that gets fired up and pushes for the truth. He is now a man that follows whatever directive or narrative he's supposed to. I don't know who's giving it to him. And he is very subdued. He talks differently. He carries himself differently. Maybe he's been threatened. There was that time where he made the mistake and said divorced versus separated from his wife. That was weird to me when he said it on Fox News or in the morning or whatever. But I want you guys to hear this. I'm going to stop this, pause, stop, pause. It's all at 52 seconds, but you'll see, son of a fat finger. All right, you'll see or hear the difference between 2023 Dan Bongino and now current Deputy Director FBI, whatever the crap his title is, Dan Bongino. So just listen. Hopefully you guys can hear it.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Her boyfriend kept farting.
Really? I'm just saying, Does that not, just visually look at the difference between pissed off, angry American who wants the truth versus politician now. Once you become a politician, do you just, not give a shit anymore? Or anyway, I don't believe that the thing is real. I'm still sticking with it because, again, not a single person has confirmed this is a real memo. So maybe it's all designed to have us losing our minds and to figure out who is really a true MAGA supporter, which this feels like if that's the case, even this feels like a really shitty way to do it. And like, why would you need to do it? I don't understand why this is happening. I'll put it out there. I don't understand it. I do know I don't believe it, but I don't understand why it's being done the way it's being done. So there's that. Then, but wait, there's more. Oh, this post is from a suspended account. That's interesting. So I follow this guy named Rob on X. He posts some funny stuff, but he also posts some like really good stuff. And he posted, oh, come back. Okay, so I lost it as soon as I clicked on it. It went away. Please hold. Wait 1 second. Oh, before even that, holy crap, JD Vance, September 4th, 2021, when I think X was still Twitter, whatever, posted, before he was, Vice President Vance, he posted, remember when we learned that our wealthiest and most powerful people were connected to a guy who ran a literal child sex trafficking ring, and then that guy died mysteriously in a jail, and now we just don't talk about it? So, just putting that out there for you. We talked about the bank account. We talked Matt Gaetz. Hold on, I'm trying to find the thing that I had because it was, Julian Assange. You guys remember that name. He said, the reason the FBI wouldn't let the Epstein client list come out in the court is because if they did, their blackmail would no longer be useful and the CIA would lose their control over the powerful people they spent decades setting up. Was the leaked memo a way to give these people they're blackmailing a sense of security or safety? Like what? Again, I don't understand what's going on. And then you have, what's her name? Alina Habba. She said on Piers Morgan in February, it's incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, information, names that will come out. And now you have nothing. There's her. Can y'all see that? I know the glare is absolutely awful. Hate it. It is what it is. It just, none of this makes sense. But where was the post? Please hold. I'm almost back to it, I promise. No. Side note, there is a White House cabinet meeting scheduled for in just about 8 minutes with President Trump and everything else. Let's see. Where is this thing? Hold on. Today we found out there's no Epstein list. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Still funding Ukraine war. We've already talked about that. Pam Bondi, we did that. I have way too many things saved here. Okay. Who did this? Okay, so Rob said Pam Bondi also said there were thousands and thousands of pictures and videos of underage children in Epstein files. Whoever posted it, X suspended their account. Look, can y'all read the top? This post is from a suspended account. So, I feel like we're going to see a lot more of those happening right now. Also on X, people's accounts getting suspended for bringing up the truth from the past and the things that have been said and everything else. This is what I wanted to tell you. This is the main thing. Okay, so y'all remember we talked about it in the video yesterday, if you watched yesterday's video, how the influencers, the social media influencers went to Washington and were given these binders by Pam Bondi, these Epstein binders with all this information in it, and then they turned it into this like whole ass spectacle with reporters and cameramen and whatever else, right? Well, DC Drano, I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's over on X. He was one of the influencers who was given the now infamous Epstein binder. And he wrote this whole thing out yesterday that I want you to hear. And I can't decide if he is saying this in a way that's supposed to make it okay, or if he's saying this so that you understand that they got played, that the influencers got played by Pam Bondi. So listen, he said, one, I understand the rage people have for demanding the Epstein client list and arrest. Every influencer there that day feels the same anger watching pedo elites get away with the most heinous crimes. We want justice, and almost all of us have called for the client list and arrest for years. Number two, we had no idea we would receive Epstein binders that day. We were originally invited for a meeting with VP J.D. Vance in the White House, and that was it. We all paid for our own flights and hotels out of pocket and carved out time to go. None of us even knew who else was invited. We ended up meeting with President Trump, Marco Rubio, RFK, Kash Patel, Caroline Leavitt, and basically half of Trump's cabinet in the Oval Office. We were honored to be invited, and most of these meetings were surprise events. There was no advance notice about binders or any other meetings except for our meeting with JD. We had that's number three. We had a surprise meeting with the Attorney General, and she handed us Epstein file binders. We all heard on the news the night before that she would be releasing the Epstein files that day, so it was surreal to have a copy in our hands. Again, this whole thing makes it sound gimmicky as hell, right? Like so incredibly gimmicky. Number four, the photo shoot was not planned. We were walking from the White House to the Eisenhower building, and about 50 plus photographers were waiting outside for the UK Prime Minister to arrive and meet with Trump. Myself and others held up the binders because we were enthusiastic about justice finally coming for the pedo elites after living for 4 years under a rigged and stolen presidency. So you guys have seen the video where there's this door opens and all these influencers come out and they're all smiling and holding these white binders and they're holding them up. And at that time, we were all thinking to ourselves, what kind of publicity stunt bullshit is this? Like, why are we making this why are you smiling while holding Epstein files? Why are you smiling knowing that there's information in there that is tied to a man and child sex trafficking and pedophilia and rape and stuff? Where's the smile? This doesn't make sense to me. Now, according to DC Drano, the smile is because they were so happy they got to meet everybody they got to meet, and they were excited to be part of this historic moment with these binders. The smile, though, still a little effed up, in my opinion. Now, number five, we were told a lot of the info in the binders was not new, but that there was some new info. None of us were able to immediately cross-reference almost 400 pages of flight logs and other info with a decade of previously released info to verify what was new and if there were any bombshells. Some of us, maybe naively, thought there was at least some good new info, because otherwise, why even say you were releasing anything? And that's how a lot of American citizens felt as well when it turned out that it was just a big nothing burger, right? Now, number six, they said if it weren't for @Cernovich, which is a X account on here, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. He single-handedly filed a lawsuit to unseal Epstein records that soon thereafter led to his arrest. He was there at the White House and given a binder. To say that he or other influencers are involved in a cover-up of Epstein defies logic. So again, I can't decide if this is designed to make this person and all these influencers that were there seem more like puppets or pawns, or if it's designed to kind of take the bad taste out of people's mouths when it comes to their names. You know what I mean? Number seven, because I can count. Influencers do not control the Epstein files. We aren't the federal government. We're regular people who became outspoken activists to help save America, and we were roped into this messaging exercise without any prior planning or coordination. Again, I understand everyone's anger because we all want answers and accountability too. In fact, all of us are still calling for the files to be released, just like we did for years beforehand. But for some reason, some people think influencers control the Epstein files. We don't. I don't think anybody thinks influencers control the Epstein files. Let me just put it out there. DC Drano has some great information, but I think that sounds stupid. I don't know a single person who thinks that I have anything to do with Epstein files or Benny has anything to do with Epstein files. You would have to be an extra level of stupid to think that. Number 8, we can't rewrite history, but we can help fight to get these files released. I know myself and others will continue calling for accountability for the Epstein pedos, just like we have done for many years. And then he says, if you made it this far, thank you for your time and concern for the actual truth. So I wanted to share that with you because a lot of people were really pissed off when these binders came out, me being one of them, not because the binders themselves, but because the influencers, which number one, friggin' hate that word. Like, who the hell am I influencing what? Like, I'm just having a conversation with you. If you feel like people are influencing you, that to me is not a good thing. I don't want to be considered an influencer. I don't want people, well, okay, That feels wrong too, though, because if the information I give you helps you make different decisions or change your opinion or your mind, technically, I guess that's influencing you. Still don't like the word. It's fine, not a big deal. A lot of people just had an issue with the fact that it was done in such a cheesy manner, right? Anyway, this is not beer. This is green tea. Look, iced green tea before anybody's like, oh, drinking early, girl. I talk a lot and my mouth gets real dry. So there's that. So I wanted you guys to hear that. Then, oh gosh, there's more. There's always more. No, we did that yesterday. Oh, we did that yesterday. Okay, look. I'm done talking about that right now. Okay, we're done talking about that. How about that? There will definitely be more information that comes out and questions that comes out, but that's what I have right now when it comes to how I feel about what's going on with the Epstein release. Look, this is not real. I need you guys to know this. This is a fake AI video, but people are saying this is what happened with that one lost minute. Look, it's supposed to be obviously Hillary Clinton going into Epstein's whatever to do whatever to him. Oh, another thing. I thought I saved it. No, I didn't save it. This guy who said he was in jail while Epstein was in jail. I don't remember if they said he was like his jail mate, his whatever. But he was saying how it is not at all physically possible for him to have hung himself the way they said he did, because there's nowhere to literally hang anything. You got to be a real stupid prison to build it so that people can hang themselves, because you give them sheets to sleep with at night, and if you gave them somewhere to tie it up where they could jump off of something where their feet would not touch the ground, you're really, really bad at designing prisons. So the guy was like, there's literally no way he could have hung himself. The picture, I bet I took it out of here because I'm a dumbass. I showed it in yesterday's video. Did I keep it? Please hold. That showed the room that they claimed was the room they found his body in when it was all said and done. And for some reason, he had 8 bajillion orange blankets. Oh, please tell me I kept it and didn't get rid of it, because I have a tendency to go through and delete the stuff after I've shown y'all the stuff. Oh, I bet I did, because I make really dumb choices sometimes. No. Oh, I bet I did. This saddens me, because I wanted to go over it one more time just to make sure I wasn't crazy. And I don't have it. I don't have it. So there's a picture, which I'll go try to find again, of inside the jail cell. Number one, it does not look like the room that they are showing in the video. It does look more like the one that has the window in it, that they showed us immediately after he killed himself, mama. And there are tons of orange blankets all over the ground, but I did not think to look up to see what the ceiling looked like, and I didn't save the freaking picture. So we're gonna have to look for that, because none of it has ever added up, right? None of it has ever added up. So that's that. How long have we been here? 38 minutes. You guys want a little bit more of what's going on right this second? Because this morning, there was the whatever this is called, when a bunch of people get together and have a little conversation in front of a podium. I don't even know what to call those things. I'm not gonna lie. But Pam Bondi was there. Pete Hegseth was there. Kristi Noem is there. And I'm thinking it's gonna be something. I'm like, finally, they're gonna stand up there and say, okay, we did send the memo. You know what they did not say? We did send the memo. Pam Bondi did not talk a single lick about Jeffrey Epstein or a memo. So again, it's not real. But what they did talk about was how the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins is her name, just announced the USDA's 7-point National Farm Security Action Plan, which would ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries. Why is this just now happening? Like, this should have been a thing forever and a day ago. Then you have Pete Hegseth get up and he says the Trump administration is finally addressing CCP/adversary purchases of farmland. And he says, I want to know who owns the land around our bases and strategic bases. So, because we've talked about this before, how much
the land around our bases.
Shush, quit. How much land was purchased over the last 4 years specifically around military bases, and it's owned by Chinese companies, And you have like China owns Smithfield Pork, right? We know they bought them out. And you have to wonder why, because here in the, like, Americans cannot go buy land in China. It is not allowed. You cannot buy any land in China. Even Tesla, who has a manufacturing plant, I'm gonna say it like a question because I know Tesla has something in China. Even they don't own where they have their Tesla stuff. It is leased or whatever. Elon Musk does not own it because as an American, you cannot own anything in China. Okay, but this is what Pete Hegseth had to say.
I want to know who owns the land around our bases and strategic bases, and getting an understanding of why foreign entities, foreign companies, foreign individuals might be buying up land around those bases. That's something I should be paying attention to on behalf of the American people,
No shit,
on
Sherlock.
behalf of my department, and on behalf of the president. It's common sense. And so food security, just like energy resilience, just like where we get our water, that's all national security, especially in a contingency. So we would be asleep at the wheel if we were not fully a party to an effort like this.
Okay, let me just really quick stop this because you guys probably know, a lot of you know that over the summers that the world was shut down for the pandemic, i.e. COVID, i.e. the moneymaker for Pfizer and Moderna and everybody else, and the population control. My husband and daughter and I, we had a Class B RV and we traveled the country. I was like, now's a perfect time to get out and see our country while most people aren't out in it. That way it's not overcrowded or whatever. And while driving through the Midwest and numerous other places, all we saw were wind turbines, massive wind turbines everywhere. We stopped in one place. I got out of the car to go record it. 2 police officers pulled up to ask me what I was doing. And I was like, well, I'm on YouTube and I'm just recording these wind turbines. And they're like, why? And I'm like, why does it matter? Like, I have questions why you have questions. So we're recording these wind turbines. And then we find the place where they have them all staged and set. And these pieces are freaking massive, right? And while there, I'm looking and I go, this is a Chinese company. Why are we buying wind turbines from China? Why do they have control over our wind turbines? Why does China have anything to do with any of our, what is the right word? Electricity, grids, all these things. Why would they have anything to do with it? Why are we buying anything like that from China? And at the time, I was like, this is not okay. And now you have Pete Hegseth out there going, well, you know, they shouldn't be allowed to buy our land. Well, okay, it's not just the land we need to worry about. I saw an article yesterday about pot, weed, THC, all that, whatever, the smoky jokey, whatever you want to call the stuff. And they were saying how a lot of the weed that's here in the U.S. is not even grown here in the U.S., although now it's legal to have here in the U.S. A lot of it is grown in China and shipped here. But in China, the fertilizers that they use have so many chemicals that now when you get here and you go to smoke your weed, you are basically killing yourself with it because of all the chemicals that are in it. And it's like, why do we continue to get things from a country that hates us, that wants to be number one, that all they want is our money, but the best way to get our money is the same way that hospitals and doctors and stuff get our money. If you keep us sick and we keep buying our medicines from you, you keep making money. If we keep buying the things from you that make us sick and we keep buying the medicines from you that keep us whatever, you're making like double the money. It's a whole thing. It's a whole ass thing. And I don't think we could ever, and I've talked about this before, we could ever just completely shut off every country from trade. It's not feasible. Even in the very beginning, in, you know, the very beginning of this country, it was all about trade. You were getting the boats, the tea, and the herbs and the spices and everything from all over the place. We cannot cut out trade, but we should be able to make smarter choices with what we bring into our country, where we bring it from, and who. Oh, I'm parked in a really stupid spot because now the landscapers are here and it's about to get real loud. Either way, we should not be selling our land to China, of all people. We should not be buying as many things or importing as many things as we do from a country that does not have the same regulations as we do when it comes to cleanliness and stuff like that. Just a lot going on, right? So, dang it, because the landscaper people are here. We're going to go ahead and call this done, and we will do more this afternoon because there's so much more to talk about. So much more. I went way longer earlier with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff than I had planned on it, but you know, it's one of those things where once you get into it, it really makes you go, are you serious? So that's that. I'm going to see you guys later. Gonna let these guys do their job and not get my car all messed up, and I'm gonna take my fluffy booty to the gym and try to, you know, work that out a little bit, and I will see you guys a little bit later. I hope you have a fabulous morning. I'm going to pay attention to whatever happens in this cabinet meeting. Hopefully there'll be some talk afterwards. It's supposed to be about Israel and Hamas. It's supposed to be about Iran. It's supposed to be about a lot of different things. I can guarantee you what it's not about, freaking Jeffrey Epstein files, because that shit is not a real memo. And then we'll talk about some of that later, and some more Pam Bondi stuff that I have, and randomness. Okay, I love you all immensely. Have a fabulous morning. That's all I got. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Adios.